I like the title. It's not too big, it's not too small, but I'm particularly drawn to the eyes because they are quite striking in the fact that they are saying this is someone who is scared to me.
I like how the focus is on her because it's like a close-up image.
When looking at the poster, I really like the fact that the woman is facing away from our eyesight, because I think that it intrigues me into thinking, what is she looking at? If she's not looking at us, what is she looking at? Something in the distance? Is it interesting? Is something going on?
I don't like the actor's name at the top of the poster being in white and not in bold. They just don't stand out for me.
I don't really like how she's not looking at the camera because it doesn't use direct mode of address.
When looking at the poster, I don't like how close the image is. I just feel like although it's a simple image, it's just a bit too close and a bit it doesn't give you much, so you can't really tell what it's all about. So you'd like to see a bit more background, see where she is. It just kind of brings more questions than answers, and yes, it would make me want to find out more, but at the same time I sit there and think, if I'm not really that interested by the poster because it's not showing me anything, do I want to find out more?
Yes, because it's a really strong picture because it's a close-up of a face, but the position of the hand also helps to make the whole picture appealing because you want to know what is going on.
Yeah, because it's a close-up, so it shows her facial expression clearly, so you can see how she might be feeling in the actual film.
I think that the poster image is effective because it does intrigue people into thinking what's going on. But for me personally, it also deters me. But I think initially the thought was, oh, I wonder what she's looking at, I wonder where she is, I wonder what the story is behind the image.
I think there should be at least another sentence somewhere on the poster that gives you some idea of what the film is about, so that draws you in as well, because just looking at it, just that word nostalgia doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I think there's enough text because the main focus on the poster is the image, which is probably more useful.
I think for a poster, the text is enough, just to kind of give you the title, who's involved, and just a little bit about what's in the film. I think if there was too much, it would kind of take it away from the intriguing feeling you get from the image. And people glance at posters, they don't necessarily read them, because you could be just looking at it passing on the bus and you don't have time to read everything, but you can capture the name or the image stays with you.
I think if you change the colour of the actors' names, that would completely change the poster, but also the title Nostalgia, if that was in a different font and bolder and a different colour, that would work brilliantly as well.
Maybe you could have a tagline because it gives a bit more away about the film.
Personally, with the poster, I think that actually the image should be a little bit further away than it is, because I just think that It's too close, and if you had a bit more, it might intrigue you more, because if you can see kind of where the girl is, then you can start asking more questions. Whereas with just the image of her face, almost, yes, she's got a look and she's not looking towards the camera, so it intrigues you, but knowing where she is might ask more questions and make you want to look further into it.
This magazine front cover, I love the red. It really is bold and really draws you in.
I like the background for the magazine because it shows the woodlands, which shows a location which could be in the film, but it's also edited so it's blue, which adds to the colour scheme.
When looking at the poster, I really like the fact that the woman is facing away from our eyesight, because I think that it intrigues me into thinking, what is she looking at? If she's not looking at us, what is she looking at? Something in the distance? Is it interesting? Is something going on?
To actually pick something I don't like about this is really hard, because actually I really like the cover.
I think that nostalgia, like the title, should be a bit bigger so it draws more attention.
Personally, when I look at the magazine cover, I don't always like the writing being over the image. I do understand that it's quite difficult for people creating magazine covers not to do this, because the image is the overall the cover. But if there's a person, I'd rather that the writing was on along the sides or in bubbles separate to the image, because otherwise I feel like it kind of blurs, although in this case it is red. So I think that maybe in a bubble I'd be more attracted to each bubble, rather than trying to read all the different writing and trying to work it against the colour of the image. And for some people it might be difficult to distinguish those two colours.
I think the dark background and the dark clothes that Emily is wearing work really well with the red, and that gives you an idea of something dark, therefore you think thriller.
Yeah, I think that the background using the woods links to the thriller genre. However, the main image of the girl and her stance suggests that she's quite powerful, which doesn't always link to the thriller genre, as they're the inferior ones.
By looking at the magazine cover, I did instantly think, oh, this might be a horror. On closer inspection, I saw that it's a thriller. However, I do think those two kind of film genres are linked, personally. So I think that the image and the text being in bright red does kind of give off that kind of thriller, horror film kind of vibe, and so you get that straight away.
The paleness of the skin against the dark background of the red writing really draws your attention to her face, and then the darkness around her eyes draws you to those eyes again, and it does make you think, what is going on?
Yeah, I do like the image because it's a long shot, but then it also shows the facial expressions from the girl, so it suggests what might happen in the film more.
On the magazine cover, I really like the image that's been used, because it's a distance shot, so you can see the background, you can see kind of where the film would be going, where it might be set, and it brings more questions than answers. And I think in order to attract people to watch a film, you need more questions, because they want to then go and see the film to get the answers that they haven't got from the magazine cover.
As a front cover, I actually wouldn't change anything, because it has everything that I would look for. to pick something off the shelf.
I think maybe you should change the writing at the bottom of the magazine to be a bit more bold, and then also use sans serif fonts somewhere throughout.
Personally, I think with the magazine cover that maybe just changing the writing, not the colour, because the colour bright red and stands out, I think, but maybe putting it in different places rather than over the image, or just in the bottom it is over the image, and that's something that I kind of find unattractive in a magazine cover because it draws my attention away from the main image. So if it's in a different bubble, I can kind of skip from bubble to bubble to bubble, or headline to headline to headline, and not kind of take away from the image that's on the cover.